Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. DJ here once again with a news report. Now I wrote this news report yesterday, but I ran out of time, so I'm going to give it you this morning. Now it's not too late. It's news still, and most of the newspapers only picked it up today, so I'm still up to date. But let me elaborate. White people are more likely to be jailed than offenders from ethnic minorities, faith communities under shocking new sentence guidelines. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick, Conservative, has declared he accused the Sentencing Council of creating a two-tier justice system after new rules were sent to magistrates on Wednesday, the 5th of March 2025. So yesterday morning they received these new rules. And I wrote it immediately, but as I say, I ran out of time because I was posting other things on this channel and other channels I have. So the new sentencing guidelines tells judges that criminals from the ethnic minority, the cultural minority, and the faith minority communities should be specifically considered for pre-sentence reports, meaning they could be considered differently to white counterparts. Shadow Justice Secretary Mr. Jenrick said a pre-sentence report is the first step in avoiding a prison sentence. He declared under new guidance, prison sentences will be less likely for ethnic minorities and faith minority communities. So forget being white, forget being a Christian. If you belong to a different race, to a different culture, to a different religion, then you're okay, mate. This would create a two-tier, he went on, this would create a two-tier justice system. We believe in equality under law. That's he's talking about the Conservatives. Why doesn't Labour, he added, why is this Justice Secretary enshrining this double standard? This two-tier approach to sentencing. This is an inversion of the rule of law. We are on the side of the House, but we on the side of this House, Conservatives is talking about, and the right-wingers, sorry about that, believe in equality under law. Why doesn't she? The changes prompted widespread fury on Wednesday, with critics warning equality under law is a cornerstone of our civilization. The hugely controversial new guidance also said pre-sentence reports, which are designed to tailor sentences most appropriate to offenders' history and background, there we go again, for example, to deal with their drug addiction or homelessness, should be prepared if a criminal has declared they are transgender. So we now have another minority group brought in. So we've got religious minority groups, we've got cultural, we've got racial, and now we've got transgender. Anything but, it seems, the traditional man and wife, male and female, white Christian. I thought that was the sort of country we grew up in, but seems not. Now, the Sentencing Council, explaining the changes to magistrates, said a pre-sentence report can be pivotal in helping the court decide whether to impose a custodial sentence or a community order. Two-tier justice. The Justice Secretary, the one who's responsible for this report, Shabana Mahmood, responded to the alarming warning by telling MPs in Parliament, as someone who is also from an ethnic minority background myself, I do not stand for any differential treatment before the law for anyone of any kind. Well, she said she doesn't. Do you believe her? Considering she's changed the law for the magistrates to do all these considerations for people who are of a different ethnic, religious, and what would you call a transgender? Is it ethnic? Is it religious? Or is it just feelings and thinkings? I'll leave that one up to you. These statements from government and ministers have a seemingly similar theme, which are easily seen through by anyone who has eyes to open to the realities of the situations these statements cover. I have heard that the Prime Minister's state, whilst in the company of the President and of the United States and his Vice President, Mr. Vance, when Mr. Vance made the statement that UK has a freedom of speech problem, and the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, he stated, "We have a long history of freedom of speech, which will continue whilst laws have been enacted and police investigations and arrests distinctly show the opposite," to the now Justice Secretary making a statement on differential treatment. So he's saying, oh, no, we have freedom of speech. There's no problem with freedom of speech, whilst they curtail freedom of speech and two-tier policing and now two-tier justice system. They say one thing, but do another, don't they? This is the government we're in. This is the George Orwellian idea. In the novel he wrote 1984, he wrote it in 1945, thinking by 1945 we would have 1948 we would have this happening in Britain. But of course we had a war, and we came together. I was born in those days, and we came together. We helped each other. We didn't have ethnic minorities. That I had a doctor who was from India. He was a wonderful doctor, but we didn't have a lack of integration. We didn't have this further to make Britain a Muslim country. We didn't have this further to make Britain a communist country, a dictatorship. We gang together and we helped each other, and this has gone. This has gone in Britain today, and now we've got two-tier policing and two-tier justice, and a sort of a wave against Christianity, a wave against white people, a wave against speaking your mind. We've seen people on the streets being arrested for standing there silently, praying in their head, not bothering anyone, and they've been arrested. We've seen them carted away. So the idea that we've got freedoms in Britain, it's not true. Freedoms are being eroded at a vast scale. Every time I look in what's happening in Britain, I find something else has happened to take away another chipping away of our freedoms to speak, our freedoms to think, our freedoms to act, and it's getting to me, quite frankly, that there doesn't seem to be the furore from the public saying, hang on, how dare you take our freedoms away? And it's because the public said, oh, well, this new justice system, it's only for people who break the law. But is it? Is it? We've just seen a man in Bournemouth arrested for praying a few minutes inside his head. Nobody else could hear him. We saw the woman in Birmingham arrested twice, taken to court twice, and on the third time approached by police who told her mere presence in the area was an offence. Of course it wasn't. And the last case where she went to court, she's now been paid out £13,000 by West Midlands Police for false arrest. But she waited months, and those months take a toll on your mind. Worried, am I going to prison? What's going to happen to me? And this is a silencing technique. Although, as she didn't speak, it wasn't silencing. For her, it was, you're not allowed to stand where you wish to stand. That is a breach of our civil liberties. It's a breach of our freedoms, a freedom to act, a freedom to walk, and a freedom to speak, and a freedom to think. It's got to stop, but I can't see it stopping yet. Trump in America is doing his best to bring back some sanity. In Britain, we've got Starmer's government bringing in insanity and thinking they're acting correctly. What do you think? Comments, please. And don't forget, press the like button if you like these short, brief, concise reports. And subscribe, because it doesn't cost you a penny. Doesn't cost you a cent. It doesn't even cost you a rupee. It's totally free to subscribe. So press the subscribe button, because that's what enables me to continue with this, bringing you the news. So until the next one, and they're coming fast and furious, I'm going to say goodbye now. Be safe, be sure. Bye for now.